So one of the most important things to know in terms of knowing your values, in terms of being able to tell your stories, like we discussed yesterday, because it's going to help you a lot in terms of marketing and content and making it relatable. Now, what I'm going to show you is when I really got stuck in the business, and this is going to be relatable to a lot of people in the room, because I probably had 5, 6 people ask me a very similar question in regards to what we're about to solve here. And this is summer of 2019. I had quit my job 4 months earlier. I had 200 one-to-one coaching clients online, which is insane. And people moan that they have like 80 and they can't handle it, or 50 or whatever. Or some people have coach and all they do is coach and they have 50. And this was literally the shed office that I built my entire business, which made millions in. It's like, and in the winter it was freezing cold. I had some like crap radiator in there. In the summer it was too hot that my MacBook would overheat because it had like a flat top on it. And that's reality in terms of where I spent all my time. I built this entire thing was in a little shed. And the reason I show this is that this is where I was, you see the CJ coaching thing on the wall. This is where it all first started. And again, a lot of this today, yesterday is about you seeing what can be done and you setting big goals for yourself because you can see them through. So the big thing I want to focus on doing is not making the mistakes I made. Because there's been numerous ones, and this is where you can save yourself a lot of time. And one of the big things is removing the golden handcuffs. And we're going to do that in terms of building teams and removing basically, so we're going to help in terms of removing the golden handcuffs in terms of you not having a team that's holding you, like not having a team so you get stuck in the business, which is a huge thing that's happening to a lot of people right now. You get stuck in doing fulfillment. I think Emma, wherever you was speaking to you a minute ago in terms of how you're stuck with working with loads of clients and it's slowing you down, it's draining your energy. One of the most important things is you can remain like high frequency in terms of what you do, so you can put your best effort into things you actually like doing that are really going to move the needle forward with the business. You're not stuck like working in it, but you actually work on the business. And this is one of the big things we can talk about today is in terms of from an ads perspective, in terms of how to get more traffic and leads, and also like operations, how do we find the right people? We're going to show you that hiring funnel we've recently built, where do we source people, and I want to make this super interactive. So whilst we go through this, if anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand and I can answer any of your questions specifically as well. So the huge thing to understand with this is a lot of people, and this applies to everything, is they think, I tried it, it doesn't work. Like the amount of times we've tried something with paid advertising, it doesn't work is wild. The amount of times you try anything in your business, it doesn't work is wild. But you just need to keep going. And the reality is, you don't know how to do it, and it's a skill deficiency. And the big thing is, there's people in this room, in terms of myself, Aid, and the rest of the team, who can help you to fill that gap. We've spent 1.3 million maybe on Facebook ads over time. The last thing is it's complicated. It's complicated because you don't know how, and these are all excuses which we're going to address in this. And when we're looking to scale your business in terms of with paid advertising, there's only 2 key numbers you need to know. Firstly is CAC, which is cost per acquisition. So how much is it actually costing you to sign up a client? The amount of people who don't know this number is wild. Like, this is the most important thing you need to know if you want to spend any money marketing. And a way to figure this out, for example, say you spend £10,000 on Facebook ads, for example, and you sign up 10 clients, your cost per acquisition is 1,000. The second number you need to know connected to this is your lifetime value of a customer. How much does your average customer pay you whilst they're working with you? And once you know this, it then becomes a very simple game in terms of maths. Actually, Dave, we had this conversation this morning about knowing the numbers, because for you to go from 100K a month to 200K a month, you can't be guessing at that point. You have to know like black and white. And a great example of this is Aliyah Mahrez, who people remember from our event in November. So I spoke with her maybe a month ago, and she didn't really have these dialed in. She thought she was making 4 to 5 to 1 on her ads. Like her CAC to LTV is actually 20 to 1. So she's making way more than she realized, so she can actually spend a lot more. And when you know that, you can be a lot more aggressive in terms of from a marketing perspective. A common question a lot of people ask is also, how much should I be spending on marketing? Obviously, as much as possible if it's profitable. A good rule of thumb is generally somewhere between 15 to 20% of turnover is a good place to be looking. Now, this is what we do in terms of paid advertising to print money, and this is exactly how we do it. So, people, clients in the room, a lot of you guys will be using the system already. And this is basically our funnel in terms of signing up fitness clients. We use it in our own fitness business, and we use it obviously within Mark's Mind, teaching you guys. And we come on to this strategy and the other main strategy and how we can optimize these. So very, very simply, we go to DM advert, we use an AI chat setter, or you can have a manual call setter, and we'll come on to hiring those shortly, to a sales call, which Joe will help you to crush and make more money on the calls. to a new client. And there's two reasons why this doesn't work for people. Number one is your cost per lead is too high, because the reality of what's going to happen with lead costs, they're going to keep going up, which is why it's important to know your numbers, because the cost of advertising, for example, on Facebook next year will be more than now. The second thing is your program price is too low, or you're selling monthly programs. So it's easier to make more money and be profitable if you're selling higher ticket items, which can come down to the offer and the niche in terms of what you're targeting. Now, if we look at breaking these down to reduce cost per lead, one of the easiest things we've actually touched on already this week and a couple of other people have brought up is actually targeting different areas. So if we look at the most expensive place in the world for paid advertising, it's the United States. Are they the best people to sell to? Yes. But is it worth paying 10 to 15 times lead cost for them? No, because it's then difficult to make it profitable. So one of the big golden areas you can look at is trying to think about fishing where other people aren't fishing, where the right type of clients are. So actually, we spoke about it with Dave this morning. They focus obviously in the farming niche, so they're looking at like North Dakota, South Dakota, like who's running ads to there, but there's a big farming community. Also looking at running to farming communities in Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, other European countries. Because the EU and European countries are really far behind in terms of paid advertising marketing, so the cost per advertising is a lot less, but it's also easier to try and sell to the consumers. The other thing we want to do in terms of reducing the CPL, the cost per lead, is test different graphics, different creatives, changing the hooks and headlines in the text, and here's some examples. So, and we'll come into some text examples of this as well. So these are like the main type of SMS, direct message ads we would use from a graphic perspective. You will find in seasons different things work. So for example, this time last year, I think Aidan would agree with me, video ads with reels of like, I'm looking for 7 women in the United States who want a bikini body worked better. Now it's very much gone back to graphics. Graphics is easier because it's much easier for us to split test and change slim bikini body than we have to refilm the whole thing again. So these would be examples in terms of how we would test these. We would maybe change the location to specific areas in the US or the UK, wherever you want to target. And then we focus on changing the hook and the headline. Now, I sent this to our ads guy, Nick, I think it was Spanish engineering. It's like a force field. Just can't go that side. So in terms of something that's wild, is you want to have things in terms of ads that are pattern interrupt. And often this is the most basic, ugly, like retarded thing you can find. That black and white ad on the right-hand side, we're going to try and run something similar for fitness, but that's half the cost per lead for us on a B2B front, say for trainers. So an example, that's super basic, but it comes up in people's feed and they stop and read it because it's completely different to everything else. So for anyone in here, that's really something I would look at in terms of how can you make your ads really crush it by getting people to stop the scroll and actually look at it. I'll give you 1 second other hacks, not actually on the presentation, but if you go on to Facebook ad library, if you literally Google Facebook ad library, you can go on it, you can search up anyone's Facebook ad account. So one of the best things you can do, even just from a content idea perspective, is you can go on and search like some of the biggest spenders in Facebook ads, what they're doing in terms of graphics, what they're doing in terms of videos. So like you can search Grant Cardone, for example, Ty Lopez. You can look at Nike if you wanted. And what that's going to do is it's going to let you see like what ads and what creatives really crushing it. Because what you do is if you look at the graphics or the ads they're running, if they've been running for a while, they're profitable. So those are really the ones you want to copy. And it's a great way to get inspiration. Now, in terms of different ways of changing the headlines and hooks, like small changes of little words makes a massive difference. So instead of looking to get in shape for summer, you could do looking to get a flat stomach for summer. Like something as basic as that has a massive change in terms of the cost per lead. Or instead of looking to lose belly fat for summer, looking to shrink their waist for the summer. Like really small changes, and the beauty of paid advertising is we can actually test these things and see what really resonates. But a great way to do this in terms of paid advertising, as what I said to you earlier again, Dave, keep referencing the conversation, is on your sales calls, people will use certain language. So you want to take the language they use and put that into your marketing advertising. So if people are using advertising, this type of language like, I want a flat stomach for summer on a sales call, that's probably something you want to try in your ad creative. Again, if anyone has any questions, just feel free to raise your hand. Now, the boosting Reels ad strategy. And this is basically how you can put organic content on steroids and get tons and tons of traffic. So we talked about sales funnels yesterday. So the goal is simply to get as many eyeballs into your profile as possible. Now, with this, we very, very simply just pick off the new followers who are coming through and message them and get in the conversation. Same as you would do from an organic perspective. Now, in terms of a tracking perspective of this is a little bit difficult in terms of revenue versus cost. But what I would do is I would try and attribute it to a specific area. So to give an example to Dave again, we spoke about 3 different locations he was going to target of, say, Canada, US, and Belgium. He would just track how much money have I spent targeting Belgium, for example, this month, how much money has come in from Belgium. You can then get a very good gauge in terms of how profitable that ad is and whether you can scale it. And the reality is with this type of content, it also is going to snowball and compound for you for a period of time. The other type of paid ads that can then connect into this is you can then run retargeting ads. So if we're getting more top of funnel traffic coming in, so people clicking your Instagram profile, they basically get like pixeled. So for anyone in here who's ever clicked my social media, you will never escape me. I'll follow you around the internet until you die, because retargeting ads will keep like chasing you around. These people who are clicking your profile are going to get pushed to ads. So one of the things that is probably the most profitable ad you can run is a retargeting ad. And in terms of people, in terms of spend, I'd probably spend about 10% of your marketing budget on retargeting ads to try and bring in the warm audience. And the warm audience is in that mid-funnel section we showed yesterday, which is probably 50% of the audience. We touched on that, but obviously the big thing with this as well, to make this really bang in terms from an ads point of view, is to make sure your content and branding is on point. This is why your values being important, your story being important, because these are the big things that are going to connect with people. And if you look at the people who perform the best in terms of growing their business, their content is very good. And if your content and your ads are crap, you can put money behind it and it just won't work. An example of someone who's killing this, we've already mentioned Dave. So Dave's obviously doing this quite a lot in terms of his farming niche, and he's boosting some of his highest performing posts, which is bringing people into his profile. Get the tracking fixed a little bit more with Dave. You can spend a lot more, he'll make a lot more, and then that's how he's going to get to 200K a month. Now, we talk about, does anyone have questions on ads? Shoot.
For the retargeting ads, is that always a direct call to action, like the SMS posts?
For a retargeting ad, yeah, I would do a super high intent ad. Okay. Because if you think that person already probably knows you at that point.
It makes sense to do like a follow me.
No, they should already follow you at that point, so they've clicked your profile. So I would literally just hammer the retarget one. So you can do different retargeting audiences for ads. So you can do 30 days, 90 days, or 180, 365. I'd probably just do 180, depending how big your audience is, or 30. But you can break them even to different campaigns. So you could have an ad campaign that's like 30-day retarget that say you put a small budget on, which is like the warmest people, or even 7 days, and then have a longer time period for which is a bigger audience. But obviously, like, if you click on my profile today and then you see an ad this afternoon, you're going to be the warmest person, right? So I would always, with paid advertising, you have non-intent ads and like intent ads. A non-intent ad would be like boosting reels to get people to follow you. An intent ad is like, I'm trying to get this person to sign up right now. So I would always go direct in with that at that point. Any more ads questions? Ben? So for Ben's question was, do you send different content to people who save versus interact? You could. I personally wouldn't, because neither nor or... Welcome to Spain. Aidan, could you go and tell them to shut the fuck up? So your question, Ben, in terms of the saved post versus the other post, I would say you don't have a big enough audience to split it. So I would literally just put them all in like a warm campaign and just like target those people specifically, because like, unless you have huge amounts of traffic, I wouldn't bother splitting up any more than that. You could run different variations of campaigns to retarget. Like you could do a direct to book a call, but I would still do a direct to a message because I think that seems works better still. Harry?
So at the moment we're running mainly traffic out of the UK and Ireland.
Yeah.
You ran like the local there with Spain, you see a lower cost per profile visit on that.
Right, while like you probably got 4 to 5 times as many profile visits.
And the quality is still?
The quality is going to be less, but then there will still be gems in there.
Yeah.
But it comes to what problem you're trying to solve, because like for you have a lot of people to message already. I wouldn't say that's the main thing for you to solve right now, but for other people in the room, that might be a good suggestion. And if you look at some of our ads that are doing really well is targeting like wealthy holiday areas in Southern Europe. So like if you target Saint-Tropez in France, for example, there's loads of wealthy Americans go there for the summer, they're gonna get picked up in your ads. JJ had a question? Yeah, once you go over that, it depends on the size of the audience, but yeah, 10, 20 pound a day max. I start at 10, and then on Ads Manager, you want to look at frequency score, which is how frequently an ad's getting shown to someone. You want to keep that under 4. Like if it's really profitable, we can keep it high. Like we have one that's 13 to the buy, but it's still profitable. We're not spending a lot, so we just let it run. Adrian.
What percentage of your monthly revenue would you put towards, say, your ads?
I would do 20% to marketing as a max, like max. But like marketing includes like content, videography, like all that other type of stuff. So like I would define marketing as anything that gets you traffic and eyeballs. So whether it's our like banner of me in Paddle Gym would be a marketing cost, for example, like anything that's like a traffic source. Millie?
If you're testing different locations, would you try to find locations that perform the best before you then start running retargeting ads to those locations?
Yeah, you'd need to run, so I wouldn't run retargeting, I'd probably run like a broader location audience. I'd probably do like the top 5 countries where we have clients come from, for example, like US, Canada, UK, Ireland, maybe Dubai, for example, because you probably don't have enough traffic to be super specific to individual countries. You could do like the UK, but I'd probably make a bigger group of countries where most of your clients are where you're running the ads to. Just don't run worldwide, because you end up with a lot of people from like the cheapest places in the world who might hit your profile, like India, Pakistan, or wherever. Great question. This is why I wanted this to be interactive, because people ask things that I didn't think of. So the way Facebook and Instagram and all the ad systems work now is run off AI. So whatever you put in the copy, and this is why the copy matters so much, it will push it to the right type of person. So you almost want to try and match this as much as possible to the type of person you want to try and sell. So yeah, I would try and target, like, I would do open targeting, so I would probably not put any targeting. So if you want to target runners in the UK, I'd be like 25 to 40-year-old men, like UK or like specific locations, and I would just let it run. And then the targeting would happen based off the creative of the ad, because the platforms would see that people who like running are engaging with this and messaging, so it will start to push it to more of those people. Any more questions on ads? So, cool. If we get any more, can't go through those. So, cool, so we're going to teams and operations. I'm doing pretty well, halfway for time. So, how do you build a world-class team to get your time back? This is probably the biggest lesson I've learned the last 6 to 12 months. We are all in the recruitment business. I remember you saying this to me the other day, Pete Doyle, but you've got new people coming to business, how much of a difference it's made. We've got new people who have come into our business recently from multiple different disciplines. It's made a massive difference in terms of you take someone who's from like a level 5 to a level 8 comes in, everything gets easier and everything moves faster and it's seamless. So the most important thing we need to do is focus on getting the right people in, which is what we're going to talk about. Now, if you want to have a big business, or even you want to have a business that you probably enjoy to run, there's 3 different people in your business you need to have. 1 is the traffic guy. 2 is the sales guy. 3 is the operations guy. In our business, this looks like this. I'm the traffic guy, so I'm the guy who dances around in front, is good on camera, and can teach stuff. 2, the sales guy, is Jack in our team who runs our sales teams, trains people, and helps manage the show with that. And then thirdly, the operations guy is Aiden, because he loves stuff like that, and I hate it, and he's really good at it. So the reality is, though, at the beginning, you're all 3 of these people. But this is good because it teaches you all the core skills you need to know. Because when you're developing a team, it's very difficult for you to teach a sales closer if you've never taken a sales call. It's very difficult for you to teach a setter if you've never booked a sales call. This is why you have to have a base understanding of anything before you can try and delegate out to someone. And this is also, I'd say, one of the big issues I see with people when they hire Facebook ads agencies. Aiden can correct me if I think I'm wrong on this, but I don't know anyone I can think of off the top of my head who's worked with an ads agency who's been like, yeah, they crushed it. Do you know anyone? No, not in the fitness industry. Because For you to have an ads agency and not actually understand how the system works, you can't give them the right information to get it to work. They don't know your offer, they don't know your avatar, and no one is going to spend your own money better than you when your credit card's on file. I like the photo. And this is our 8-figure hiring funnel. So, and you want to take a photo of this, I'll send the slides around afterwards. So this is an example in terms of a job description for a social media manager for us. Very, very simply, use ChatGPT, but put the right prompts in, which I'll explain. So ChatGPT is amazing in terms of how you can build your business now in terms from an operations point of view and management, even with giving KPIs to team members, delegating tasks so everyone has everything done and like the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. So it's super, super simple. So this, for example, is a full job description of social media manager for us, which we're still hiring for. And essentially, I just put in exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted someone with X amount of experience in terms of the industry, in terms of like YouTube platforms, who can manage a team of X amount of editors. Here's the links to all the platforms we have. These are the responsibilities I want them to have. And it puts it all together, throws it all out in 30 seconds and makes it look pretty. And then if you want to add more stuff into it as you read through, you just add back into the prompt. Step 2 of this I want to show you. So this is the bottom half of the job description. Is what we have done is we add an application link at the bottom. And this is where we can automate a lot of the process. So again, other things that we add into here are things like perks, so how to apply, about the business. One of the other relevant things to put all your social media on there is people can actually go through and see more about what you do. Step 3 is the hiring funnel. So remember on the job description where I showed a link. That link, when they click job description and they apply, drives them into a landing page. And on this landing page, there's a Loom video of me explaining what the job is. So this is again for a social media manager. This is me going through our social media accounts, saying what we want to do. This is the goal of what we want to achieve. This is who we are, this is what we represent. This is definitely not for you if you want a 9-to-5 job. This is definitely not for you if you want to like kick back and relax. I think Aiden had someone who just wanted to travel for fucking half the time. It's like, this is definitely not for you, dude. And the job in some respects of this video is actually to put people off. It's like we talk about in sales of like the push-pull technique. You want to do the same thing with staff when they come to you. You want to push some people away, but you'll pull some people in like, yeah, this guy's crazy, I want to go work for him, he seems cool. And this is a huge thing in terms of what this basically funnel does. Now, what happens from there? When they basically hit the funnel, they will complete a type form, and on that type form they have to submit a video, like 2-3 minutes long of why they think they should get the job. They have to upload their CV, they have to answer some questions. This then pulls through into our Slack channel where we have company job applications, and then these just come through on like autopilot. So like if I open my Slack now, it's probably someone who's applied for a job. Now, why this is really, really good is because who in here gets bombarded every day with someone like, I want to set a job, I want to edit a job, like whatever, probably everyone, right? Like we probably get 10, 20 a day. Now, the reality is when these people message, it's unlikely we probably need someone at that time. But we can send them the link and get them into the pipeline, and we have their CV and details on file that we can then basically pull them in if we need to. So that's one thing that works particularly well. If we look at some of the other platforms, even like Upwork, you can leave the job ads running all day long, like forever, it costs nothing. And we constantly have people applying for the jobs coming into the system. And this is one of the things you need to do is constantly try and upgrade your team. So their skill sets, but also the people. It's like cutting the bottom performers of who you have. And this is basically an example in terms of how it pulls in. So we use Notion, and it pulls all the data through into a hiring form. We can see name, phone number, email, job position, all the details. And from there, I'll let anyone take a photo for that. I think Maisie wants one. We then have a hiring pipeline. So we then pull people, and these are people we basically interviewed and we're happy with. So video editors, sales reps, business coaches, setters, admin, whatever. So the goal is, say for example, use Dave as a reference again because we spoke this morning, you know you're growing, you know you're going to need more setters, you're going to need more closers, you're going to need more coaches. The goal is that your brother Michael runs operations is like, Dave, we need another closer. I spoke to Henry, let's get him on board. We've already interviewed him, he's good to go. And then you can just drop him straight in. And you're not spending 4 weeks trying to find someone. And that's how you can get yourself moving ahead really quickly. So we've set this up into Notion and the whole thing's automated and it pulls into sync. It costs nothing. And the reality is there's hundreds of groups if you want setters and closers that you can go on and just post for free. The other thing I would do, which we can talk about on network, is also posting on social media. You could start posting a story, I'm looking for X, Y, Z type of person for this role. you could run to your email list, you could ask for existing clients. Now, if we go into a slightly different subject, if we think about one of the biggest things that's going to hold every person back in this room, is the basic fundamentals of like what the human brain is designed for. The brain is designed for safety. Like first and foremost, it's like, I don't want to die. So when we think about our decision making when we run a business, we have to come into this because, let's crash on it. What do we need to do if we want to be successful? We need to take risks. Like lots of risks. There's always going to, like, it's calculated, right? Which is why we need to know the numbers on ad spend and things like that, right? So if our brain is designed for safety, yet we need to take risks to be successful, this actually means our mind is working against us. So one of the most important things you need to understand is that every time you get fearful, you're like, oh, I don't know if I try this, I don't know if I should do this, this seems risky, this is like your fear mindset coming in. This is like the safety switch clicking off, like, oh, just stay in bed today and not do this thing, right? So the most important thing is to understand this framework, and this can also be applied in terms of sales, content, and why a lot of things aren't working for you right now is because your decision making is being skewed because your like safety mechanism is like clicked in. So one of the big things I want everyone to take away from this weekend is to like pull the handbrake off and let yourself go and understand this basic framework. And the secret to my success is this. I've spent $250,000 on self-education, networks, and communities to get ahead. And I was skiing with my friend Darren here in Canada when I think I joined the most expensive mastermind I joined, which was $50,000 or something. And I was sitting in a ski lodge and I was like, fuck it, let's just do it. We'll find out if this works. And the reality is that the more you have the mentality to just go and try things, like you win or you learn, right? And that 250K generated over $11 million in revenue. Like, it's an impressive figure. And what I want now next for everyone in here is like, take the next 2 to 3 minutes to picture exactly what you want. So literally like write it down, like how you want it, whom you want it, like what's the future you want in the next 12 months. Like literally physically write down the goals right now, give you 2 minutes and just map that out. To set big goals because you want to be audacious with what you want to do because it's going to make you take audacious actions. And when you put those things out into the world, like it's going to make you take bigger actions. So like transparency in terms of like what I'm looking to do next is we want to try and scale to $750K a month. I want to have a family next few years. I want to build a software company. I want 2 homes across 2 continents. I want to have 1,000 trainers become financially free, make over 100K a month, and grow our YouTube channel to 100K subs. So like I'm very clear in terms of where I'm going. And a couple of times over this weekend, I've shown the exact goals I wrote a few years ago, and I got there. And the reason why it's important for you to show those things, like write those things down, also like share them with other people publicly, because it will make you have to take the action to do them and take big, big steps. So this is a huge thing you really need to think about. And why am I doing this? And this is a principle I wish I learned sooner, is that the sooner you like invest in other mentors, you spend yourself in the right communities, the faster you move ahead. You set big goals, you take action, you're very, very consistent, you should remain disciplined, you will get to exactly where you want to be. Because even like Dorian said yesterday, just having the mindset to turn up every single day to do it. So like if anyone's in here that are not on the program, not working with us yet, if you speak to one on the team, we can help you in terms of how we can get you to achieve your goals. And the other people who are in this room, I have no shadow of a doubt that will help you become an success story, like someone like Dave, Aaliyah, or whatever your goal specifically is. Does anyone have any other questions? Nick?
What is the number of financially free you say? Because that obviously that would be honest, like, making financially free.
I think if you can get to $20 million net worth, you can do anything you want, and you never have to answer to anyone ever again. I would say it's fair. I think for $5 million, like 3 to 5 probably $1 million, I think you can do whatever you want, like realistically. Depends on your lifestyle, but yeah. Any other questions? Adrian?
You said you're hiring someone for social media. So what does your content team give you advice on? Say, IG?
So we're trying to hire someone now, and this is why it's challenging, this is a good topic to bring up, is I'm trying to find someone who's better than me, who teaches us. Like, that's the whole point. I don't want someone who comes in who I have to tell them what to do. It's like, Charlie, you need to make this, you need to do this, you need to come up with this idea. Like, tells everyone else what to do, and they've been there and they've done it before, which is very difficult to find someone with that skill set who you can try and pull in. Because that's how you can, it's like I showed about the content thing yesterday, it's like, proof of concept, these things work, you make them to the same quality that the content will work. If I bring someone in who's done the exact same thing, like, you're guaranteeing success. Do you know what I mean? So that's the goal. Any other questions? Henrik?
So I guess you have a lot of expenses, of course, because
Yeah.
you have a big team.
Yeah.
But how much of, what do you say, percent is going straight into your pockets of all expenses with taxes and everything?
Well, I don't pay tax because we live in Dubai and I've got a good account. So anyone who needs Stu who's in Dubai or the UK, I would say for most people you want to be trying to aim for like 50% profit margin on an online coaching business, like realistically, because this is why this is the beauty of these type of business models. We don't have fixed premises in terms of a gym. We don't have huge offices we have to pay for. There's not like insurance on these buildings. You don't really have any overheads other than the team who work for you, who you can hire remotely anywhere in the world. And then you can also market to anyone in the world. So the only cost you have is your team, your marketing, really. Any other questions? Yeah, so one of the best things I do, and I did at the start of the year, I write the 5 like big goals I want to achieve this year. I put them on a sticky note and I put them on my computer screen. So like I look at it every day. And then even like my phone, I would have like a vision board of the stuff I want. So like, for example, two of the things in there I've already like knocked off. And what's interesting from that is you'll set goals at the start of the year, and then you'll be like, I look at my phone like, shit, I've already done those 2. Like, that's pretty cool. But this is what brings confidence, and then confidence brings momentum, and it's that confidence momentum loop. And why people struggle sometimes is they don't do enough output at the beginning to get the confidence and the momentum to come. So that's why, like, whenever anything's getting difficult or you're struggling, I would work more and lean into it more, because that will get you the momentum back. Where people struggle is when they aren't doing as well as they want to do, but they bury their head in the sand and they go sit on the beach for like 5 days. Any other questions? Millie?
What type of software?
The force field attacks. Working on that at the moment. The things I was looking at doing were very elaborate and complicated, so it's trying to ascertain the best thing for that. Ideally, what I wanted to make wasn't like a one-size-fits-all marketing platform of coaches that tracked all the metrics, but it's incredibly complicated. But I was also looking in terms of how you could build a fulfillment software that's better than what's out there right now, but also how you can utilize AI to take some of the work of the coaches so you can pay them less. One of the things, transparently, I was talking with a developer with like 2-3 weeks ago, was using AI to be able to run all the check-ins for someone. They could do like audio voice notes, but I want them to be able to do like video replies, but the AI is not at a level yet where it could be like a milli video reply, which is like good. It'd be a bit ropey, if that makes sense. Not yet. But that was basically my plan, was a way if you could build a coaching fulfillment platform, that the whole thing was basically run by AI, you then don't need to have a coaching team, and you could just have a coach that maybe does like accountability calls with them, and then you've got less people to manage, you've got less overheads, it's a much more streamlined business, and I don't think many people would be opposed to that. Yeah. If anyone gets any ideas for a software company, I'll pay commission. Alicia?
If you have to start all over again, would you do anything differently?
That's a wonderful question. If I had to start all over again, I would have left my job sooner. That was a mistake. I fannied around for that for like 9 months probably. Like, oh, should I do it, should I not? Because I was super comfortable, because I was getting a good salary there. I wasn't really working that much. I could do whatever I wanted. And I had the online stuff that was making money, so it was easy. But I was in like too much of a comfort zone. And it's probably similar to some people in this room. Your business might make like 10, 15K a month, and you have relative freedom. I was in that position for maybe 10, 12 months where I was like, should I leave, should I not? And if I'd pulled the trigger sooner, I would be further ahead than I am now. So like the one thing I'd say is like, whatever it is, you just need to do it right now. It's probably a big thing. It's just make quicker decisions with things. I'm pretty quick with that anyway. And I'd say the second thing is just surrounding myself with the right people faster, because people solve problems. Like I mentioned yesterday, my Instagram account got disabled, and then 25 minutes later I got it back because I know the right person who can get it back for me. If you don't know the right person, you don't get your account back, your business sinks. It's very, very simple sometimes. So I just say trying to get myself in the right groups and environments, and I probably didn't do that quick enough because I didn't know anyone who could get me into those environments, and there probably wasn't as many back then, if that makes sense.